Okay.
Hey,
So we are going to talk about how to teach writing to different age groups and different levels, including children, adolescents, and adults. Before starting, can you fill in the blanks for me?
listening, speaking, writing,
Mhm.
and reading.
Yeah, there are four language skills: listening, writing, speaking, and reading, right? Which one
Yes.
are productive skills?
Uh, Writing and speaking. Sorry. Yes. Writing and speaking.
Yes, exactly. That means they involve
Oh,
you, you involve, when you say productive, it means,
so sending language
or yeah, producing rather than receiving it. Okay. As it's listening and
and reading.
very simply, we can say that communicating a message by making signs on a paper. What is communicating a message by making sign on a
That's
paper?
writing.
Exactly. Exactly. So, especially nowadays, writing is very important because now people likes to send messages, right? DM. Correct? So how often do you or which one you're more comfortable? Calling your friends or like at work, even your colleagues, or send them messages?
Oh,
It
I
depends
gotta
on
con.
that.
Sorry, Daniela. Go ahead.
I guess for me, it really depends like on the context. If it's just how is your day going, then I'll just write like say I'm good. But if like you want advice or you want to just talk about something that's a little bit more profound, then I prefer calling.
Okay. What about you, Carmelo?
So for me, I actually I prefer video phoning. I like to see
Oh
the person,
wow.
and
Interesting.
I'm encountering a lot of resistance.
Oh really?
Yes, as you know, as the Borg would say in Star Trek, resistance is futile because soon. Well, anyway,
Yeah, you want to see
I
them.
actually feel better. When I'm video calling,
Oh, really?
and
I'm
after
more
that,
comfortable with sending texts, you're right. Because
yeah,
anytime, anywhere, no
I
matter
know.
where you are, no matter how you look, you can send a message. Yeah.
After that, it's telephoning, and if I have to, I will sit down and use my thumbs, to send somebody a message. But I preferred. You know what? I find that texting. I mean, we're talking about texting, right? I find that
Yeah.
texting is not very efficient. Other than to say hi and and so on. At some point, I have to tell my intended
More in
client,
detail.
listen, hey, can we like talk on the phone, or can we video, because I don't want to spend my morning just sending messages and you sending messages. It's
I
like,
see.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I understand it. Hello, Samantha. How are you?
Hello, hi everyone. I'm good. Thank you. Sorry for joining late. And I just caught the tail end of that conversation there. And I could so relate to this because I'm a person too. I like sort of direct communication and being on
You
the
do.
phone. Yes, I do. And I found, I don't know if it's the time we're living in or the place we're living in, but people are less, even adults, they're less tolerant to just having a phone conversation. It seems too abrasive. So I've had back and forth text messages and I'm just getting crazy. Like, could I just call? Could I
Oh,
just call?
really? Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm very different. I really like to text everything. And so I can copy the text to several people. I love it. So why should I call like 10 people? I just send the text the same thing. But you are correct. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes you need to explain something, that's correct. It depends on the subject. I do
Depends.
agree.
It depends,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think if it's the same message to multiple people but different, like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, that's
Right.
great. Texting, no problem. Copy paste. But for the call, where it's a unique conversation, you need to hop on a call
Mhm.
sometimes,
Yeah,
and I
sure.
miss it. I'm an old school
Sure.
girl.
No, no, I'm in. It depends
Go
on the
old
subject. Thank you
school.
very
Go old school.
So old school.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so today we want to talk about different stages of teaching writing and how to plan for the writing part in your classes. And here, so this is the picture. You plan and you get prepared. So there are different stages for teaching writing: pre-writing task, while writing task, post writing task, and assignment. So what about pre? It means you put your students in the context. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you want to plan, the very first thing you need to think about: how old are my learners? Children, even children, how old they are. Like 7 to 10, 10 to 11. Are they 10 or 10 to 12? Or are they adolescents or adult? Even for adult, right? Seniors, working mom, housewife, that's different. Okay, we have Doris here too. Hello, Doris. We're talking about how to teach writing.
Hey.
Hi there. Okay, so how old your learners are, and are they familiar with the subject? Like when you want to talk about emails, so are they familiar with emails? Like if they are 9 or 10, maybe they don't. Okay. What are their writing abilities? And what are the aims of the session? Are they going to get familiar with paragraph writing or the whole email? Depends on the different issues like their age and their need. Maybe you say that when you plan for your class, you start teaching them how to write a paragraph or a story writing to children like between 8 to 10 instead of emails, because you need to plan for your class like for a course. So for your course, you have listening, speaking, reading, and for the writing, it depends on their needs and their age. When you want, let's imagine you want to teach them an email, okay, how to write an email. Then you have to think about what should they learn about emails, what vocabulary they need, what about the grammar, punctuation, connectives, how to connect the sentences, and register. Is it for like for work, for a professor at the university? It should be formal, or it's like for a friend or a family, like they can write informal, right? And even knowledge, like the email is about, they want to get some information about a summer vacation tour. So if you want to put them in the context, you start asking them about if you want to go on vacation with a tour, what kind of questions you ask? What do you want to know? Like about the where to stay, about the hotel, how long is it, the price, and different facilities that you have in the hotel, or tourist attractions, about the place or different opportunities. So what kind of questions you ask? So this is the way you put your students in the context. Just start thinking about, okay, I want to book a hotel or I want to book a tour for my summer vacation. So when you want to put them in the context, you put them in the situation. This is pre-writing task. So set the context for your students. We always said we start from known to unknown. We activate what the students know. So we can ask them some questions, then they know the answers about the vocabulary and the grammar. Then you find out, okay, if they want to write the email, they need some vocabulary like greetings, how to start the email, like how to close the email, or they should know some phrases or even functions. So this is the time when you put them in the context, they get familiar with the context. Then this is the time to pre-teach the vocabulary. Maybe you have to teach them some collocations, or jargons, or it depends on the writing, right? It depends on the email. Then even you can ask them to share their ideas. Okay, if you want to ask a travel agency about different summer tours, how do you ask? You put them in group pairs or in groups and let them think. Let them think. And they say, I'm going to ask these questions. Oh, very good. You can write your questions. Even in your in-person classes, you can put the questions, different parts of the class, different questions. And say, okay, walk around and find out proper questions you can ask on your email. And they walk around, they read it, and they find it. Or even you make a list, because we want to get students involved from the beginning to the end, right? And help them to think. So you can make a list of different questions and said, okay, I want you to read question number 1 to 15 and click on the proper questions you need to ask from the travel agency. You give them access to click. So they click on the sentence, on the questions. Okay, what's next? In pre-writing, in pre-writing task, they should know about the vocabulary, and also you review the grammar. So you want to ask about the future. If you want to ask about future, what tense do you use? What phrasal verbs? What functions you need to know? How do you ask for a request? Okay, you review the grammar parts. What's more, if you want to write an email, they should get familiar with the layout. So what's introduction, what's body, and what's the conclusion part? Then you review paragraph writing. So in paragraph writing, we have a topic sentence. What is a topic sentence? Topic sentence is a sentence that carries the main idea of the paragraph. Then what are supportive sentences? Okay, yes, Daniela.
So even with like if we take it up to even like mini essays, it's like we get them accustomed to have like the intro, the body paragraphs, and then the conclusion, right? So it's kind of like just helping them focus on like little segments before you integrate the whole thing, right?
Yes, we review, when you, for example, for email writing, we review what they know. When the students get to essay writing, already they know how to write 2 or 3 paragraphs, right? Then we say how to put it in a different essay writing. For the email, they know how to write a paragraph. Then they get familiar with the introduction or bodies and conclusions. So we review what they know. You know what I mean? Is that clear? Perfect. But when in pre-writing task, they get familiar with the context, they get familiar with the vocabulary that they need. You review the grammar part, and then you review different parts of the email, like introduction. What's in the introduction? What's in body? What's in conclusion? Like for introduction, you need to write the aim of the email. So when the reader read the introduction, they understand why you wrote that email. Then in body, you have to explain. You have to explain what you really need or what you are looking for or what are your questions. And in conclusion part, what do you ask for? Okay? What are you looking forward to? That's the conclusion part. When you introduce it, you get to the why writing task. It's a part that together, the whole class together, start to write an email. You need to show them a sample first. So there are two ways. One, everybody together, I'll hold the class with the help of the teacher, start to write an email. Or you analyze an email. You show them an email and I said, okay, let's analyze different parts of this email. Here is the introduction. So what can you find in the introduction part? Or these two paragraphs are buddies. Let's read the buddies and tell me what you understand from the buddy. And here is the conclusion. What do you understand from the conclusion? So maybe you analyze one sample with the student, or it depends on the ability of your students and level of the class, or together you write an email so they see a sample. While writing task is a part that the students need to practice the different activities. So when you analyze it, it's good for visual learners because they can see, or even reading and writing style of learning. They can read it and they start to write. And the teacher and the students start to talk about it and explaining, so it's good for auditory too. When you ask your students all together, let's write an email. Actually, it's good for a kinesthetic one because they get involved, they get involved. And of course, for visual, auditory, and read and write. So you consider all your learners. When your students see one sample, say, okay, now it's the time. You write an email in pairs. So you give them another topic and I said, okay, I want with your partner or in your group, it depends on the number of the students in your class. In your group, start and write the introduction part. So you give them like 5 minutes, they write the introduction. You need to monitor. In your online classes, you put them in breakouts, you go to the different breakouts and listen to them or read their writing because they type it and you can see it on the screen. In in-person classes, you have to walk around and look at them and monitor and help them. So introduction shouldn't be too long. Okay? But it should be very clear and the reader understand why you write this email. When you check, even maybe one or two students read aloud in the class and ask the others, okay, what do you think? Any comments? Then you get to the body. So like 6 minutes, write the body and explain. Even you can give them bullet points. So in the body part, I want you to ask about the different, like for that summer tours, different trips. I want you to ask about the price and how you can pay. So they have the bullets and help your students to write the body part. Again, when you monitor and you check it with your students, get to the conclusion. So first, they see the sample. Second, they practice and write it in the class with the help of the students, other students, like in pairs or in groups. For story writing, you can start the first sentence and you put them some pictures and said, okay, I want you to look at the pictures and continue the story. So giving them prompts help them to write it easier. What is next? For post-writing task, it's a part either individually or again in pairs, depends on the number of the students, they complete their task. Okay? They complete their task and they can swap their writing with the other group. Why it is important? When they read the other pair's writing, they pay more attention because they want to correct or they want to give comments. So when you finish, ask the students to swap their writing. In breakout, you can help them to swap their writing. You can change the pairs and put them in different breakouts in your online classes. So they put comments or they correct their friends' writing. And finally, they hand it to the teacher. Okay, I will tell you how do you gonna correct. The important thing in writing session is timing. Because maybe it takes like 1 hour, which is too much, right? So you say 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So it should be logical, but still it should be in a limited time. Otherwise, it takes a very long time, and you don't have to finish the whole lesson because it's not only writing. You know, each session you have writing, listening, or at least 2 skills to teach. Okay, so we have different types of writing. Maybe they write an email. Nowadays, not a letter anymore. Usually in the books, you see emails, or maybe write a story, or write a postcard, or invitation, even essays. So it depends on the level, what kind of writing you practice with your students, or even paragraph writing. But the stages for in your lesson plan for process part, the stages is pre-writing, while writing task, post-writing task, and definitely assignment. Okay? So in pre-writing, put the students in the context, the ingredients like vocabulary, function, grammar, or what they need to know to write that topic. Okay? And it's good to help them, like asking them some questions and said, okay, answering to these questions help you to write the writing task. While writing is a part that students work together and practice and teacher monitors and help them. Post writing is a part that they present it to the class or hand in their writing. The very important part, what they learn in the class, they have to practice at home. So you need to think about the assignments. Okay, what are they going to do at home and how do they practice? Here is a question: how to activate the background knowledge. Like if they want to write about technology, you can start asking them to put them in the context. Here is a sample. You can ask them some question. Do you have a computer or do you have a laptop? How often do you work with it? What do you do on your laptop or on your computer? Okay. If they don't have many ideas and say, nothing, we study. I would say, okay, let's think about it. Do you play computer games? Do you use it for your homework? Do you watch movies? You know, always have some prompts to help them to think or to talk first. Do you send emails? Do you chat to your friends? Okay, do you read books on it? How often? So they start thinking about it because they have to write like an essay. Okay, so they have different ideas and they start to think about it. Even you can show them some pictures. This is good for the teenager. Okay, these are the things that you can do on your computers. You help them to think and say, because you say, if you ask them to write an essay and say, I have no ideas, pictures help them to remember and get ideas. Okay? Sometimes they can, I hear, sometimes they can listen to an audio, like a part of the story, and then they have to complete that story. Or they listen to, or they watch a video, and later they have to write about that video. Asking some questions help them a lot. Like they watch a short video about a teenager that they talk and they say how often they use their computers and what they do on their computers. And then they have to write like 2 or 3 paragraphs about using computers by teenagers. You can ask them some questions. Does Elena have a computer in her house? Okay. And what does she do? So you have a conversation first and then give them time to write. So they get prepared to write. Even they can walk around in person class, and they said they can ask each other, how often do you use computer? What do you use your laptop for or computer for? Even in their online classes, you can put them, like, depends on the number of the students, like 5 in each breakout, and they start asking each other, what do you use your laptop for? Here is a sample for the email. Do you remember I told you, they can see the sample and then you analyze it? So you can share an email on the screen and say, okay, this part, what is this part? They say greetings. How do you write the greetings? Is it the same? The greetings is the same when you write it to your professor or to your mom? How do you write it to your mom? And they say, we just write, hi, mom. Oh, that's nice. But to the professor, we say, dear Prof. Smith. Or to my manager, I said, dear Dr. Smith. Oh, that's correct. And the punctuation, you need a comma after that. Mm-hmm. Or for the closing, how's it different? When you want to close it to a friend or to your mom or to your manager, how's it different? Then your name, is it your first name or full name? So you start talking about this, analyze it. So they see the formal email and informal email. They find the differences. This is a way you can work on register part. When they see the sample, so it's good to practice for the vocabulary, new vocabulary or new function. So we can give them a sample, but with blanks. They use the new vocabulary to fill in the blanks. It's very hard. English is easy for you, but just imagine Spanish, French, German. It's hard to write an email, correct? So for your students to write an email, it's not that easy. We started from simple. Well, always the activities or exercises should be simple to difficult. The simple part is we focus on the vocabulary or we focus on the grammar part. Giving blanks or filling in the blanks really helps. If it is hard for individual to do it individually, put them in pairs. Or maybe you don't have enough time to practice in your class. So put them in pairs, it makes it faster too. So fill in the blanks and use the new vocabulary or the new structure. Then, now, you give them a topic. So already they know the vocabulary. They practice the grammar and the function and the jargons and vocabulary, everything. They analyze, they had the sample. Now it's a time to write. So you give them a topic and said, okay, I want you to write like 5 lines email in pairs. Teacher monitors and give them help or correct them. Then they swap. When they finish, they swap and the other group put comments. You give them actually second chance to think about it. Okay, let me review. Let me review what I've learned. When they want to check another person, they review what they've learned. And finally, to the teacher. So for correction, they have self-correction and peer correction, finally teacher correction. When you give them time to go through it, it's a self-correction. When they swap for their other group or other pair to correct, it's a peer correction. Then finally, teacher correction. That I will tell you how you're going to correct. Later in the slides, I will show it to you. So when you correct, capital letters are important. Even you can share such a checklist with the group. When they swap and it's a time for checking, you can give them a checklist. Okay, check for capital letters at the beginning of sentences or add names, full stop at the end of the sentences. Okay, check the structure, check the tenses, check the link between the sentences, like cohesive devices or linkers. So when they have the checklist, it really helps them to check it out too. When you want to check Okay, when you want to check your students' writing, it's good to be it's good to encourage them first. So be positive, give them positive feedback. It shows that when the teachers put like red lines everywhere, the students lose their self confidence. And some students even hate writing. They say, I'm not good in writing. But teachers always wants to encourage the students in learning. So that's why we say always write when you put notes for them, always write for the positive feedback, even their handwriting. If they're writing in hands, even their handwriting. Or you say, okay, I like the way you put them in the paragraphs. You can't find anything, so you have to find something. Oh, that's fine. This time, you know, when you start your sentences, you always start with capital letters. Perfect. So find positive points first. Then you say, okay, to improve your writing, here are some suggestions. So strength points, then weak points. And then you have to give suggestions how to improve. Okay? You cannot correct everything in one writing. It's impossible, right? You focus on the actually terminal objective of the session. If that session is focused on layout of an email, so focus on layout of the email. If the focus is on spelling, for what's the focus of that session? You know what I mean? So don't correct everything. Just said this session, I wanna mention these vocabularies are not good for formal emails. Okay? But still you have to improve your grammar as well. That we're gonna discuss it in another email. So that session I'll only check the vocabulary. Basically, it depends on the level too. If you're checking like advanced student, that's a different story. You have to correct everything. But elementary or pre-intermediate, like level 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, you just focus on one. When they improve their vocabulary, then you go on grammar. When they improve the vocabulary and grammar, then you work on punctuation. You cannot mix everything because it's hard for the students to remember and learn all together. So we start with the positive feedback, then give comments. When I observe some classes, I see some teachers just write good, very good, excellent. It doesn't have a meaning for this student. Why I'm good, the other students is very good, and the other one is excellent. What's the difference? So you have to explain why excellent. These are the positive points. Why good? Why good? Not very good. And how can I improve myself to get to very good or excellent? Even they say A plus, B minus. What's the difference? So a teacher needs to write in detail so students understand how can they improve. Okay? How can they improve and what's the problem? We have different kinds of writing as well. Depends on the level. Control writing, guided writing, and free writing. For lower level, control writing. Block copying. Yes, Daniela.
I don't know if we already in the unit where we talk about the different levels of writing, or because you keep referring back to depending on the level of writing. So I'm wondering, is that in the next couple of units, like modules, or did we pass that one already? Because I haven't seen
I
that
don't
part
know where
yet.
you are because you are in different students are in different modules. You have one module, 4 skills. In 4 skills, one of the skills is writing. After conversation strategies, then you get to 4 skills.
So the 4 skills one is
And
going to be
basically,
divided.
what I said in the webinar is more than what you have in their modules.
Okay.
So
Because
not, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, because I was just because when you're saying that the different levels of writing or listening or grammar, what you're telling me right now,
I
I
mean,
just want to
I'm
know.
talking about the different like element starter, elementary, intermediate, or advanced. When I'm talking about the levels, means the level of their knowledge.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
that makes sense. Okay.
how fluent and accurate they are. Okay, is that clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, sure, sure. So control writing for lower levels. Okay, like copying, tracing. Connected dots. They trace it like letter writing for children, especially. Mhm. Guided writing, like unscrambling a word, starting from the word, or describing a picture, responding to some of the questions, completing a sentence, rearrange the sentences, okay, put them in the order, even running dictation in person classes. So you make a line, okay, then you write like in two groups. It depends on the number of the students, but put them on the line in two groups. Then on the board, you divide the board like in two parts, and you write this one sentence on the top. So students needs to run to the board and add another sentence to complete the paragraph. They each student write one sentence and get back to the end of the line, and the next go. So they love that. They love it. Children, teenagers, they love it. Even adults. Okay? Or dictogloss. Dictogloss means they listen to something, or you read something, a text or a story, or they listen to a story, then they have to rewrite that. They have to write that story in their own words. That's nice too. Free writing, like you give them a picture, to children especially. You give them a picture with bubbles. They look at the picture and guess what are they talking about. And they write in the bubbles. Emails. Yeah, you give them a topic and they have to write the topic. This is free writing. Stories. Give them a topic, they write the story. Give them some pictures, they make the stories. Okay? So these are ordaries. These are different writing. The stages is the same. Pre, while, post. Pre, you plan and put them in the context. Pre-teach the vocabulary. Review the grammar and function and the layout. While is a part that they, and also they in pre they also they see the sample. While is a part that they practice in pairs or groups. Post is the part that they hand into the teacher, or read it aloud to the class. It depends. And assignment is a part that they have to practice at home. So when you write your lesson plan, don't forget assignment. Assignment is very important. Depends on the age and their need. You have different types of writing in your classes. Like copying, gap filling, reordering, substitution, guided, creative writing. Are we going to show you? I'm going to show you some pictures for creative writing. Essay writing, postcards, letters, or emails. Nowadays, emails mostly. Invitation, message. How to write a message. That is important too. Okay? Like, okay, let me give you, hold on. Even here's as well. Advertising, writing a questionnaire for the class for the different activities. Collaborative writing. You know what's collaborative writing? This is fun too. So you put them in a circle, the whole class in a circle, and student A start write one sentence and pass it to student B. Student B have to read the first sentence and add another sentence. And it goes around to the end. Teacher reads it and let's see how meaningful it is. So they have to be fast. They have to read it and add another sentence. Okay. Or if they are like more than 10 students, maybe you put them in two groups, in two groups, and each group goes for a collaborative. Writing brochures, that's fun too. Um, Students like to write creative writing. So brochures could be creative, okay, like for summer vacation, or maybe for school tours, they make a brochure. Writing to each other. So it's a silent class. That session, it's like for 15 minutes, it's a silent class. If you have any questions, if you want to ask anything from your friends, you have to write it and pass the message. So they write it, they give it to the student, and the other student write it too. That's another way to practice writing. Using music. They listen to the music and say to, okay, I want you 5 minutes listen to this music and then write about your feeling. That's free writing. Maybe they watch a video, but no voices, just they watch a video, silent video, and they write it. And they write what was their feeling, or what do they understand it, or what people are, because they didn't hear anything. What the people on the character, okay, what the people in the video are talking about. So write it. Write a script for them. That's another way. This is copying, and it's control. Children classes, like working on alphabet. So you review the words first. So what's the first one? They say ant. What's the second one? It's pig, ball. So you review everything. Good. Now write the first letter and you check their writing. Even how do they write is important too. They shouldn't write it like this. Their hands is important too. How do they writing? This is another sample for control writing. So, and not only in English, in all languages, when they write a sentence or when they write a text, so between the words, there should be space. This is a problem that usually children have. There's no space. Okay. So one way is when you write one word, you have to put this picky small finger and write the other one. So you teach them how to put spaces between the words. When they copy and say, I want you to write exactly under the word with the spaces in between. Rewrite. So what about this activity actually? What you're working here? What you're practicing with your students? When you ask them to rewrite correctly. What's wrong with this paragraph?
It doesn't have punctuation.
Punctuation,
No
capitalization,
punctuation.
There's one
capitalization.
gigantic sentence.
Yeah, no capital. Yeah. Like I at the beginning should be capital. Kimi, it's a name, should be in capital. Emmy, it's a name, it should be in capital. And there is no full stop. There's no comma. So you're working on capital letters and also punctuation. This is another way to practice. Okay? Visualize when you are working on spelling words like long. This is good for children. Long, right? So it's long. Small, right. Yeah, very small, tiny. Egg, write it in the shape of the egg. Big, like big, right? That's funny too. Here, mask and dolls. So you can ask your students to bring their favorite doll to the class or the picture of their favorite doll. Then when they bring it and said, okay, you put it on the table and said, look at this and write about one of them. We're going to like, this is my teddy bear, it's brown, and da da da. So they start to write it. Or which one do you like more? Or why it is your favorite? Even they can make a mask in the class and so look at each other with their mask and start to write. Like, what do you know about pigs? What do you like about? What do you know about dogs? What do you know about hippos? What do you know about chicken? So motivate your students to write. Guided, fill in the blanks. They listen to the music, okay? They listen to the song and they fill in the blanks. They listen to the text and fill in the blanks. You're working on pronunciation, on the spelling as well, okay? This is another way, guided writing. They read the story. When they see the picture, they write the word. This is like a puppy and a kitten near our home. Mhm. So this is another way. Crossword puzzle. Teenager above. They love it. Um, there is there's a site and an app, crossword.com. You can use AIs nowadays and they make crossword for you. Okay? Code bricks. This is something that really they love. Okay? So you give them the letters with some codes. And then you give them numbers. So they have to check the numbers and decode the message. This is fun too. Here is writing a paragraph. So they have the sample first, like it's about Susan. They have some information about Susan. And you start to talk, okay, tell me how old she is, what's her favorite color, what's her favorite food, where does she usually go on weekends, what sports does she do. You ask them the question, they look at the information and answer. Very good. Now fill in the blanks. It's a paragraph about Susie. Then the second one, again, they practice how to complete the sentence. The third one, they write about themselves. So first, it's like pre-teaching tasks. You put them in the context. They look at the information, and with the help of the class, as a sample, they complete the sentences. The second one, it is while teaching tasks. You put them in pairs and groups. Together, they look at the information and they complete the paragraph. The third one is the post-teaching task. They produce what they learn. They write about themselves. They write about themselves and then they swap, they check peer correction, they check, and after that, they hand it to the teacher. This one is picture story. They can be very creative. So you show them a picture and they start to write. For grammar, you can mention it like it happens last week. So what's the grammar? Past tense. Or it happens every weekend. So even you can mention the grammar. Or you say in your story, I want you to use these prepositions. You make a list of the preposition that you want them to use. So for the grammar part. Even you said, okay, these are the vocabulary that we learned this session. This is a list of the vocabulary. I want you to use this vocabulary while you're writing the story. And that one is for the email writing. Guided writing, we are like writing a postcard. You say, this is the place you are. It's the summertime. You're on the beach. You are with your friends and you want to write an email to your mom. You can ask them, okay, I want you to draw I want you to draw a sunny day. And they start to draw it. Now you can swap it like this one. You can swap it with your friend. Look at the picture and write about the picture. Or you say, I want you to draw one of your favorite weekends and write about it. This one, when they swap their drawing, that's fun too. So they look at it and they start to write, and you can see how in detail they can write. This is another way to encourage your students, especially children, to write. Even adults. I actually do it in my adult classes too. That's fun too. They draw something and then they swap in and they start to write. That was fun too. So to have the ideas for advanced level, when you give them a topic, it's always good to start with a discussion and brainstorming. So, and then you make a list of the ideas on the board or on your screen. Then you discuss it again and said, okay, let's go through the ideas. How many of these ideas are really related to the topic? If you want to write about all of these ideas, it's going to be a book, not an essay, right? So which one of these ideas are more important? Then discuss it again with your students. So first you start with brainstorming, then you edit all the ideas. Okay? The most important one to least important. Then they said, okay, these 5 top ideas are very important and we all agree on it. Now, how can we support these ideas? How do you want to support it? How can you explain it? What examples can you give? So when you want to support an idea, you have to explain it and give examples. Let's do one together. So always give them a sample. Let's do one together. So this is the idea. How do you support it? And then you discuss it in the class. Okay? Then you put them in pairs, start to write it. When you want to put them in the context, you start through brainstorming and writing the ideas. Okay, well, what kind of topics you can take to your class? We always said the very first thing is knowing your student. Like in first week or in first session, you ask them about their interests, their work, their career, their hobbies. So it's better you choose a topic which is related to their age or to their world, like, or their hobbies or their interests. So in this way, they have ideas to write and they like to write about it. For creative writing, actually story writing really helps them, and children and teenagers love it. But how do you start it? By creating characters. So you can tell them, we want to write a story, the whole class, all class together. So let's talk about the characters. So how many characters do you like to have in that story? And they say 5. Okay, I want you in your groups, find the 5 characters. Then you put them in groups and they discuss about the characters. Then 2 groups can discuss it together. Then 3 groups can discuss it together. All the class, they discuss and they find the 5 characters. So what kind of story do you like to write? Do you want the drama or like detective story or horror stories? What kind of stories do you like? And then again, they're going to discuss together and find a topic. You put the topic on the board and then you put them in expert groups, and maybe each group start to write one story. Like you said, I don't want you to write a long story, like 2 or 3 pages, but we have it for 2 or 3 weeks. So for 2 or 3 weeks, not it's one session. It's impossible to write the story one session. So each session you have like 15 minutes for story writing. And then you can practice the spelling, punctuation, capital, and how to write a paragraph, how to support the paragraph, how to write the topic sentence through that story. Okay? So story writing actually is very, very good for teenagers and children to practice different elements of the writing skill. Pinterest is a very good app that helps you a lot in finding pictures and even worksheets. Are you familiar with Pinterest? This is wonderful. For different skills, you can find different kinds of worksheets and also pictures for writing. And World of Fun, that's another one. And there are different ideas, even samples. World of Fun is good too. But nowadays AI can, as a tool, can help you a lot. Board game, we talk about it, that you put one sentence on the board and you divide the students in two groups, they run to the boards and write it. The story, or the paragraph, which is more meaningful, actually get the better points. And like picture writing. The biggest shopping mall in the world. Do you know where it is? Do you have any ideas? Nope. That's Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's Dubai. Yes. Have you ever been to the biggest shopping mall in the world? They say, yes. Okay, I wrote about it. What did you do? No. So if you were there, what would you do? Depends on the grammar that you want to practice with your students. Collaborative writing, like here, show them a picture and ask them some questions. Give them prompts to write. Okay? So who is in the picture? What is the person doing? Where is the location? Okay? More questions, and they look at it and together they write about it. Or this one, escape from the zoo. Where are they? What are they talking about? What's the dialogue between them? The elephant, the zebra, and the lion in New York. That was a movie. Very funny one. Okay, so collaborative writing by giving the picture and asking them some questions. They listen. They listen to the audio or they listen even to music and they write about their feeling. Write and fold. So silent writing, question and answer. Write a question for your friend, fold it and pass it. They read the question, answer it, and then they write another question and fold it and pass it. At the end, it goes around, uh, you read it aloud in the class. Sorry, I need to get my charger. Okay, you read it aloud in the class. Sometimes it's very funny. Sometimes it's very funny, and they have a good time in the. Okay, how was your last vacation? If you want to give them, if you want to help your students and give them prompt, like you can ask them. Okay, you can write about. Yeah, it is clear. Place, time, who was there? Okay, quality, climate. And they write about their last vacation. Or what do you have in your room? So draw and then write. Okay, or take a picture and then write about it. Real life situation. You want to sell your secondhand bike. Okay, how do you write the ad? How do you write the blog? What do you write on Facebook? You want people to vote for you in the class election. How do you write about yourself? What do you say? You want to make people laugh. What you gonna do or what you write? Okay? You want to write an ad on the notice board. What's it about? It's creative writing. So this is a real life purpose. Okay, for correction, I said I would tell you at the end. So what is the target of the lesson? Is it punctuation? Is it capitalization, grammar, proper words or proper vocabulary or register? What is it? Only in advanced level you correct everything. But for lower level, like a starter or intermediate level, it is very hard to correct everything because they won't learn it actually. Okay? So when you check it, it's better you use different colors. Don't put red, 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 red everywhere. No. You can put different colors, especially for children and teenagers. Like you say, green means vocabulary. Blue means wrong grammar. Or yellow, it means punctuation problem. Or you can give them code. Like here is a sample. You can make a code yourself. Okay? But a student should understand the codes. Like you say, if I put W like this one, see? If I put WW, it means wrong word. When I put WT, means wrong time, means tense is wrong. When I put SP, means the spelling is wrong. When I put a question mark, means it's not clear. Okay? So you give them codes and you give the students time, you return it back to the student and give them time for self-correction. Why? Because when you correct their writing and you give it back to them, they just put it aside. They don't go through the correction. Only adults go through it. Basically, because adults has a stronger aim to come to the class, you know? But teenagers or children, they come to the class because of their parents or because of the situation mostly. So just to be sure that they learn it, it's better you give them code or you put different colors and then give it back to your student. So I want you to go through the codes and correct it and bring it next session. Mm-hmm. So they go through it, they rewrite it and give it back to you. So here you help them to learn. You give them a second chance to think about it and learn. So when you want to write your lesson plan, you write the level, the age of your students, the background, terminal objective, what's the aim of the session, enabling objective, what vocabulary or what grammar they need to learn, what function, or actually what's the writing about. Is it essay? Is it story? Is it text? Is it a paragraph? Is it an email? Is it a message? What's it about? Mm-hmm. How do you start your class? Introduction. And then you get to process. So process, you have 3 stages, pre, while, post. In pre, how do you lead your students to the subject? How do you put them in the context? They have to write. And how long is it? 5 minutes? Usually leading is 4 or 5 minutes. You need to pre-teach some words. What is the list of the words? And how do you teach them? So basically in pre, you set the context and you introduce the task, like writing emails. Then in while, they go through a model. It's a practice time. They go through the sample, they analyze the sample, or all together with the help of the teacher, they write an email and you explain each part, what's introduction for, what's body for, what are the bullets they have to uncover in the body parts, and what's the conclusion, and how do you close it, and how do you write your name, register, formal, informal, and everything. They practice, and then you put them in pairs or groups. They have time. They have a thinking time to think about the subject, and together they write another email. Okay? This is a part when they finish, they swap it and they have peer correction part. So you give them a chance to go through it again. They review what they learned and correct their students or the other students or give them comments. Post as a part that they perform the task. Okay? And they hand it to the teacher. What teacher does, go through it, give them codes or different colors, give it back to the students, and give them another chance to review and correct themselves. And definitely later is the assignment. What are they going to write at home? And then when they finish it, are they going to email it to you, or are they going to, I don't know, print it out for you? So definitely email. I don't think so nowadays people print out and bring. So they have where to submit, and you have to explain everything to your student. Okay? Any questions? Go ahead. Is that clear so far? Is that clear? Yes?
Yes.
So you understand that for lower level, even adults, when they are learning like Spanish, you always start with alphabet. If they learn like French, you start with alphabet. So it's copying. So it's control. Then start with words. After that, with simple sentences. Then later, paragraph or messages. Okay? So simple to difficult. Simple to difficult. Don't forget, don't make it too complex. Writing is the most difficult skill in learning language. That's why we always start with speaking, listening, then reading. They see the sample, then finally to the writing. Okay? Any questions?
Do you have any samples of these, activities?
I'm gonna check. You know what I'm going to do? Let me check the modules. I'm gonna check it on the module. You should have the sample. If not, definitely I share it with TESOL to share it with you guys. Okay. So let me write it down for writing. Even when I find it on the modules, I ask them to send you an email and share it with you where you can find. The good thing is we record everything, so you have this recording as well. Okay. Any other questions?
It's more out of curiosity for me, as I'm not in the teaching world exactly.